Gestalt, Steam and Cinder, has a world that was split apart just like that. The event was called the Calamity, and with the Calamity, a rift was opened from the abyss. Demons destroyed most of humanity. Those who remained built armor using the power of the abyss to fight and push back the demons. However, slowly they all became corrupt. Those Archaeans that wore the armor and became corrupted were led by the Betrayer. Although there was one knight in Chrome that fought against the Betrayer and the others and won. Those that sided with the Betrayer were exiled and would swear vengeance on humanity, while the non-corrupted humans created the Steam City, Kenan. Since then, many years have passed since that exile. The Vanguard was created to fight against the Archaean threats. I've played 2 iterations of demos for Gestalt, Steam, and Cinder, and I can't say I'm tired of the pixel art. The animations for Gestalt for everything are fluid. For Aletheia, due to spending the most time with her, I get to see the quality of the animations. From the swings of her sword and dodging, to running and even just standing there. They are all done very well. The different areas you traverse in this Metroidvania have a unique enough look to distinguish from one another. One of my favorite areas is the Scrap Sea. The spire in the background the player gets to see when they first entered, coupled with the rain, is what did it for me. That level made a strong first impression on me. The music is good for this level too. Actually, I'll extend that to the whole game. I found the music in all the levels to be fitting and enjoyable. I just don't see myself listening to the music outside of the game. As a whole, the presentation for Gestalt, Steam, and Cinder is great, and it's its strongest aspect. Gestalt, Steam, and Cinder takes place in a steampunk world, and what I mentioned earlier was the start of the events of the story. From there, Gestalt has 2 factions, humans and the Archaeans. The conflict of interest lies with what they want to do with the gates and the power of the abyss. Balthazar, the leader of Kenan, wants to keep the gate closed and leave that power alone. Elian and the other Archaeans want to open that gate to obtain the power as it could help the people. While that conflict occurs, Aletheia uncovers one mystery at a time that slowly reveals more information about the world, thus leading to both plot lines converging. I was engaged with both sides of the plot throughout the whole game. I also found the world to be interesting, but I did have an issue about the Scrap Sea story-wise. The enemies that you fight down there, the Scrap Weights, do not have any information on them that you can learn. From what the player is told, at this point in time, they have taken an upgrade that you need to progress in the story. That's it. Honestly, I don't know how these people are living down here at all, the way they are. I know that they're crazy, but it doesn't seem quite realistic to make it down here. I can assume that they're cannibals, or that they order pizza every day, I don't know. You can have lore spread out in the area talking about how these people live, to fix the issue. To some, an issue like this is small, but when all the other levels feel lived in, it sticks out to me. Otherwise, Gestalt's story is good. Now let me talk about the gameplay for Gestalt, Steam, and Cinder. The level design for exploration and backtracking is well paced. The areas do not overstay their welcome when you go through the first time. Because of this, I didn't groan or drag my feet when I knew I had to go back, with the new power-up that I unlocked. In fact, I like going back to some of those areas, or staying there a little bit longer to finish out some side quests. Of course, this didn't only include the Scrap Sea, but also Silva and Fornax. Those 3 would make up for my 3 favorites, which apparently are levels designed in part by Joel, with his favorite being Fornax. I completed the game with 100% with the best crit chance a gamer can ask for. Generally speaking, I don't really care for fully completing games, because it feels like a chore. With Gestalt, I noticed that I was already over 80% trying to complete this game, so I didn't mind going for the 100% here. I also had fun with the combat system. Besides your sword swings, you have a gun that deals damage to the health or the poise meter. Of course, when you break the poise, you can go in for free attacks. You can also dodge in this game, but it uses a stamina meter so you can't spam it. I enjoyed the fact that I could act out of most of my actions at all times. And I like the fact that I could do an aerial attack close to the ground, and when I land, I can immediately go into my grounded attack string. With accessories I could equip before encounters, I felt like I could take on everything, which is also part of my issue. Just as a reminder, this is from my perspective, but after a specific point in the game, I won boss fights with ease. I only got stuck twice, and both of which had the same enemy type. In both moments, I felt like I had to focus, get the patterns down, and get good. Neither of those fights had difficulty spikes that were too much. It felt perfect. But after the second time of fighting this specific enemy, the rest of the difficulty came from traveling in each level the first time. And even then, I didn't exactly die too many times. A way to make Gestalt, Steam, and Cinder harder is to simply give it a hard mode that the player can access from the start. But I think having it be a New Game Plus thing would be better. Bosses can have more than just increased HP and damage, but also a new attack, or you could rearrange how the old moves work. I understand that Team Metamorphosis is rather small, according to Joel, so doing this would take a lot of time. But even so, I can't help but think having an expanded moveset, defensive options, and items against the Vanguard and the final boss made everything underwhelming. I can enjoy the great level design and traveling, going through the cool areas, but when the finale of the zone, barring Fornax, going out in a whimper, I'm left thinking, dang, that's it? And I find that rather sad. Fortunately, my overall enjoyment of Gestalt wasn't destroyed because of the bosses being easier to me. I still like the combat as is. It's solid, but I want it to be pushed just a bit more, like I was at the start with the two encounters that I mentioned. And that's all I have to say about this Metroidvania, Gestalt, Steam, and Cinder. As is, I could easily recommend Gestalt to anyone wanting a great Metroidvania adventure. If a type of hard mode or New Game Plus is ever made, alongside with other possible additions like lore, it would only elevate Gestalt more. And again, if they choose to do this, I can understand if it takes a while, or if they don't do it at all because of the team size. Gestalt costs $19.99 if you're curious, and if you've played this game, I could recommend Momodora Moonlit Farewell. Both of those indie games have awesome looking levels to look at and travel in, but ultimately, the choice is yours. I'd like to thank level designer Joel for the extra information, but anyway, that's it from me. I'll see you in the next one. Hey, if you want to go down that indie game rabbit hole, consider clicking that playlist. Trust me, it'll be worth your while.